Hey, good morning, people. First of all, I'm really sorry we were having another instance of a little bit of technical difficulties. But finally, we are here and this thing is working properly. So let's go with it. And I'd like to welcome you people to the session one of modern web development. So in this session, we will start with the front-end web development, and the technologies which we are going to explore are CSS, SAS, ES16, and Webpack today, and we will also build our first Vue.js modern application. So let's get started with this thing. Okay, so there are people still joining. I would like to tell you people, okay, write something in the comments so that I know that you guys have joined and you guys are watching. Right. Hello, everyone. Good morning. How are you people? Let me know let me know about whatever your thoughts are about this ongoing discussion in the comments, right there on the right side of this thing. And I'm going to explain a couple of things in here. And if you people have any questions about those things, definitely write those things in the comments so that I could respond to them in a proper manner. I could address them properly. Okay, so I think just give me a second. I need to open up this thing in the browser properly. Well, hello Mahek and hello Jeet. It's really good to see you people in here. Okay, so तुम लोगों ने वो अनाउंसमेंट में मैंने एक पीएनजी शेयर किया था, डेफिनेटली उसे देखा होगा. तो उसमें सेकंड पॉइंट के अंदर हमने आई हैव clarified this thing there. Okay, in this session, we will be talking about CSS, SAS, ES16, and Webpack, and we will also create our first Vue.js modern application. So that's the thing in here, and I expect कि तुम लोग अपने अपने लैपटॉप से अपने कंप्यूटर लेकर के ज्वाइन के इस टॉक को ज्वाइन किया तुम लोगों ने. So that would be really helpful because we will code along something. So let's first of all talk about a little bit about CSS and then SAS, and then we're gonna go ahead and look into Vue.js and those kind of things. But before we go through all of those things, there is a very important point. Last session which was on Zoom, I believe, yeah, Zoom data. So I tried to explain that why we are doing this modern web development thing and what exactly is the modern web development thing. So I'm not going to waste any more time in telling you people that why we are doing this thing, because we are doing this thing simply because we want to learn modern web development. So speaking now about the simple fact that what exactly is modern web development. I could put this thing in a very straightforward manner. Uh, current technologies जो web development में industry में काम आती हैं, they are very very different from what we have been from what we are accustomed to use. Particularly speaking, अगर हम college level web development की बात करते हैं तो हमारे पास बहुत straightforward options होते हैं. You guys will use jQuery for interaction. You guys will use Bootstrap mostly for your CSS work, and you guys will use something like PHP, most probably PHP, or maybe a couple of people are going to use Django for the backend. That's absolutely fine for the backend. However, in front end, things have changed very, very drastically. A lot of things have completely changed. So I'm gonna talk. I'm gonna spend a little bit time about those things, that how these things have changed, and what does it mean for the latest new technologies. Let's take the first point here. That happens to be the CSS, and I'm gonna quickly open Bootstrap website. I really need to share my screen first. All right, I believe that you people should be able to see my screen here. So I'm gonna quickly open Bootstrap website. And then we have another framework called Pulma CSS. This one is my favorite. I'm going to open their website. Then we have Tailwind CSS. This is another beautiful sort of framework. We have a lot of CSS frameworks out there. 3 of them are here. We have Bootstrap, we have Bulma, we have Tailwind, and then we have Foundation CSS, and then we have Semantic UI and whatnot. Quite a bunch of things. So in order to understand how CSS plays part in our new requirements of the modern web, let's take a look at a couple of websites in here. Again, as an example reference, I'm going to open photofeed.com, जो कि मैंने पिछला सेशन में भी ओपन की थी. Now this website happens to be a very good example of a website built with traditional web practices. And here I'm gonna open another website which was built using something little more different. This website was the previous project of my company, and we built this one. It is a freelancing platform, and this thing has been created using modern web development. Of course, that's the whole forte here. So on the surface, nothing changes. Okay, we have a website here and we have a website here. So let's open up inspect element, go to network tab, go here, inspect element, go to network tab, and reload this thing. Also reload this thing. We will examine कि हमारा जो page है वो किस तरह से बनाया गया है यहाँ पर, how the page has been created. An important point is to disable cache when you do this thing. Okay, so after disabling cache, I want you guys to look into this JS tab here, and also come in here and click on the JS tab at this point. Now, in this area, you can see this Photofeed website. It is built using jQuery, and then you have a jQuery plugin. Then you have Bootstrap. Then you have one more plugin, and a bunch of jQuery plugins in there, and some more out here. And if you click on CSS again, so in that case you have this file, which is main.css, which is essentially a long CSS file compiled out of a bunch of other files. And then you have this jQuery UI thing in here. And here in this area, if you click on JavaScript files, we have these analytics files, different analytics files, one vendor.js file, and there's a main file, landing page.js. This is one particular file, and same goes with the CSS. We have much less number of files. There is font awesome, and there is one singular file which dictates all of our CSS thing. So by comparison of this CSS thing in these two areas, we have to see that when we use the modern technologies out there, the first enhancement which we are going to use, the first benefit directly which we are going to use, is that the number of files involved in rendering the web page is going to get down drastically. वो काफी कम हो जाता है, and it clearly means that it is going to improve the performance of your web page. And web page performance is, as everybody knows, is a very important aspect out there. And this is, in most of the products, this could make or break the whole business line. And similar thing happens on the JavaScript side, but we will come back to that a little bit later when we are going to talk about JavaScript in a little more detail. Right. So CSS is the building block of the web, and CSS is used to style anything which is out there on page. By the way, if you people are not very familiar with the basics of CSS and with the basics of HTML, then I have a couple of resources, and you guys need to complete those resources at your own time. They're not very long. They are particularly simple and easy to go. I'm gonna share those things right here in the chat. Okay. And I'm gonna share the another one now. Yep, learn layout.com. Are you guys able to get those things? Great. Okay, now CSS so far so good, everything looks fine. However, there is another case, जो कि back in the day, पुराने time में it used to be a luxury, like आजकल in current times it has become like a norm, and that something is called responsive web design. So if I turn this page into a mobile view, as you'll notice that the layout changes a little bit. Same thing happens with this particular one. When I convert this thing to the mobile one in a mobile view, layout changes quite a lot. Now, traditionally, this used to be the luxury, and most of the people used to do, they used to create two versions of the front end. So one would be running in website.com and another would have been running at m.website.com. I believe अगर कोई Facebook अभी mobile पे खोलोगे browser में, तो most probably Facebook is also using this particular method, using this legacy method using m.iproper, m.facebook.com. The reason for this thing came around because the layouts of the web pages were not very fluent. और अगर आप मोबाइल के लिए डिज़ाइन करते हो तो इसेंशियली आपको चीज़ें वन ऑन दी अबव रखनी पड़ती हैं, एक के ऊपर एक, यू गॉट टू स्टैक थिंग्स टुगेदर. लेकिन अगर आप डेस्कटॉप के लिए डिज़ाइन कर रहे हो तो मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम आप चीज़ें हॉराइजॉन्टल रखते हो. I mean, as you can see in this one, here we have these images or these links with images. They are more or less horizontal, software, web, mobile. And when you toggle this thing to the mobile view, they need to come on top of each other in a stack manner like this: software, web, and mobile. Things like this in here. And then there are some other requirements depending upon कि आप किस कौन से device पे देख रहे हो. You need to take care of a lot of things. For instance, अगर आप इस website को डेस्कटॉप पर या लैपटॉप पर देखते हो तो एक डिमार्केशन के लिए हमें लाइंस की जरूरत अच्छी लगती है. इट्स गुड टू हैव, बट इफ यू आर लुकिंग एट द सेम थिंग ऑन द मोबाइल, देन इट डजंट मेक सेंस टू हैव दोस लाइंस बिकॉज विजुअल कंटिन्यूम हमें अपने आप से उस तरीके से देखने में मदद करता है. So the first solution to these things back in the day, it was CSS media queries. Here. And essentially what CSS media queries did, you could specify कुछ कंडीशंस आप स्पेसिफाई कर सकते हो इसके अंदर कि स्क्रीन विड्थ इतनी होनी चाहिए, और अगर स्क्रीन विड्थ इतनी है तो ये रूल अप्लाई हो, स्क्रीन विड्थ इतनी है तो ये रूल अप्लाई हो. मोजिला डेवलपर नेटवर्क पे दे गिव अ पर्टिकुलरली गुड आइडिया ऑफ दिस थिंग. मीडिया क्वेरीज के अंदर नॉट जस्ट स्क्रीन विड्थ, यू कुड टेक केयर ऑफ अ लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स. कि अगर if somebody is trying to print your web page and you want to give some another style to certain elements on that web page, you could define that thing with an add print media query, something like this. And it's the same thing. Agar and another slightly different thing, if you have a very wide screen, let's say you want to optimize your website for somebody who's using Apple's Retina display, so that happens to like 4K display, and if you want to present things differently in there, you could do this thing using these media queries. So for a while these media queries were all the rage. Everything was built using these media queries. It was the time of back in 2013 to 2012 to 2013 to 2014, up until that. And when you have anything complicated, using anything complicated in technology, somebody creates a framework for that, and hence we have a lot of CSS frameworks out there. Now, all of these frameworks, they have their positive and their negative aspects. pros and cons per se. I'm gonna go through one by one these three frameworks, and I'm gonna let you know about what are the good parts about these frameworks and what are the bad parts about these frameworks. So first of all, we have Bootstrap. Everybody knows Bootstrap. Everybody uses Bootstrap. Internet is full of Bootstrap. So I'm going to quickly open my Sublime Text and pros of. You guys can note this thing, जो मैं यहाँ पर कर रहा हूँ, and if you guys are like too lazy for noting these things down, then I will also create a document and I will share this thing in the classroom once we are finished with this thing. Okay, so what are the good parts of Bootstrap? The good parts of Bootstrap is it's super easy to use. Just drop the Bootstrap package in your folder, in your project folder, and start building, and there you go. So it's very easy to use. Ease of use. Number two, everybody uses this. Bootstrap is everywhere. So if you get into any problem, you will be getting support. You will be getting all of your queries and problems answered. There's a huge community behind Bootstrap. And another distinct advantage, it is very beginner friendly. There are certain elements on the web जिनके साथ interaction करना थोड़ा सा अच्छा लगता है और इन्हें बनाना थोड़ा difficult सा होता है. For instance, तुमने काफी लगभग हर वेबसाइट के ऊपर तुमने चीजें देखी होंगी. For example, we have accordions, we have panels, and we have those other we have like a hover thing and other components as well. So let's say यहाँ पर browser. Now, most of the websites out there, they are or they are not going to have this slider, and everybody likes to have slider in their website. Now, Bootstrap provides you this slider out of the box, so it has a lot of goodies out there, very usable things which you could just copy and paste from this very documentation example code and then modify them according to. So the third very good reason for using Bootstrap is that you have pre-built, let's just call them things, a lot of pre-built things, which you could just come back at any time and use them directly. However, there are some cons of Bootstrap. There are some bad parts as well. Number one bad thing about Bootstrap is that Bootstrap in order to use all of the functionality of Bootstrap, you are forced to use these three libraries. I mean, think about it. Bootstrap is a CSS framework, and in order to use the proper power, the proper manner of the CSS framework, you need to add in some code, you need to add jQuery, you need to add popper.js, and then you need to add bootstrap.min.js as well. Three things. And another thing, most of the time, जिस तरीके से Bootstrap बना है, you cannot use certain components from Bootstrap. Let's say in your website, you just want to use the carousel, you just want to use the slider of Bootstrap and nothing else. Everything is very simple. All you need to do is to quickly pick the carousel. You can't do that. You have to import all of the Bootstrap thing, the complete bulk of the library. All of the Bootstrap files and all of the code is going to be there. अगर तुम CDN यूज करोगे Bootstrap यूज करने के लिए, जैसे कि इन लोगों ने यहाँ पर बताया bootstrap.min.css stack path के CDN से, so what is going to happen, तुम्हारे पास एक Bootstrap की फाइल आएगी और 3 ये फाइल्स तुम्हारे पास आएंगी JavaScript की. So in essence you are having 4 files. Now 4 files does not look quite a lot. It looks like, okay, we have just 4 files out there, but when you render your web page using these 4 files, every single piece of functionality which Bootstrap ever tried to provide, whether or not you use it, is running in your web page. It is out there in the browser, and every of those things has been initialized. For us, when we look this thing in the first glance, it doesn't make any problem. However, जैसे ही तुम्हारे products या तुम्हारे projects थोड़े से ज़्यादा complicated होते हैं, these things start to make a lot of difference, and they make a lot of difference. Your web page performance goes down by the orders of magnitude because of this thing. So it's a very bloated piece of software. Another problem with Bootstrap is the very size of the page. If you are putting Bootstrap with it all with all of its functionality, which you have to put, you don't have any other meaningful way, then you are adding roughly 400 kbs to your page right off the bat directly. Now one could argue कि internet speed अच्छी होती है ज़्यादातर लोगों के पास, things are going to work fine, but it's not about that. You also need to have to add a lot more images, a lot more other functionality. And if you are working on anything, अगर आप तो आप किसी भी ऐसी चीज के बारे में बात कर रहे हो जो कि एक वेब एप्लीकेशन की तरह बिहेव करती है. फॉर इंस्टेंस, लेट्स से you have built a software. Let's take an example of iPropel in here. Let's say if you have built something like this, जहाँ पर आपको पूरे contract management करना है, complex searches वहाँ पर आएंगी. If I simply click on these link jobs, it's gonna show you a bunch of jobs, and then there are quite a lot of them, and then we have to support this filtering right off the bat in here. And then we also have to support the keyword search, job title search. I mean, as you keep adding more and more functionality, the size of your page is going to increase and increase and increase and increase. And it's not just about the raw size in page. अगर आपके पेज का साइज 2 मेगाबाइट्स होता है और 2 मेगाबाइट्स के अंदर से लेट्स से आपके पास 1.5 मेगाबाइट के आसपास इमेजेस थी, सो यू हैव 500 किलोबाइट्स ऑफ कोड टू बी एग्जीक्यूटेड. Now, people who are coming from little bit of programming background, you might have noticed अगर C के अंदर आप hello world की कोई फाइल बनाते हो वो 1 किलोबाइट की होती है. और अगर आप C कोड कॉलेज में पाइथन कोड या C कोड आपने लिखा होगा, सो देयर इज अ स्टार्क डिफरेंस. C कोड कंपाइल होता है और हमारे पास एक मशीन लेवल एग्जीक्यूटेबल आती है जो रन होती है. However, interpreted languages, JavaScript, PHP, CSS, HTML, all of these are interpreted, languages. तो इनका कोड कंपाइल नहीं होता है. So what's going to happen if you have 500 KB worth of code to execute? 500 KB worth of code to execute is quite a lot of code. It's a lot of code. And the way हमें JavaScript, CSS और HTML को render और execute करने का procedure browser के अंदर बनना होता है. By the way, we will go into details further down along the road कि ये चीज़ें exactly कैसे काम करती हैं browser में. Not a dedicated session. जैसे जैसे चीज़ें सामने आती जाएंगी, we will keep on continuing them. So when this 500 KB worth of code is going to get executed, it is going to take a lot of resources. It will affect the battery of mobile devices. It will affect the overall page performance. And worst of all, अगर आपकी वेबसाइट के ऊपर बहुत सारे विजिटर्स आते हैं, let's say you get really successful and you are having like 1 lakh visitor, 1 lakh visitors a day, and you have to like provide 2 megabytes to everybody. When they see one particular page, what is going to happen? 1 lakh into 2 megabytes. So this is 2 lakh megabytes of data to be transferred. And very quickly, the bills of your servers is going to come crashing up. So these are the reasons we take care of all of these things when it comes to proper web development, the professional web development environment. I hope I've made my points really clear. I'm going to take a moment in here and I want to see how you people are doing in this area. So, okay, I just explained about the reason we need to take on these things, this modern web development, and I have shared a couple of links out there. If you guys, I think you guys should be having certain questions here because I just butchered Bootstrap. ज़्यादातर लोग Bootstrap use करते हैं और अभी मैंने literally I said very bad things about Bootstrap. So I expect you guys having some questions. Throw them in the chat, please. I'm waiting actually. I'm waiting for your questions. I'm gonna wait for like 20 seconds, 10 seconds maybe. If you have any question, please ask. Nope. Anybody? Okay, let's move ahead. The second point in our today's agenda is to take care of SaaS. Yeah, the second point is SaaS. Let me again quickly share my screen here because most of the time that's what we will be doing. Okay. The second point is SaaS. So what is SaaS? If somebody already knows anything about SaaS, of course, let me know in the comment. If nobody has heard anything about SaaS previously, it's okay. There's absolutely no problem with that approach as well. So what is SaaS? 2018 में किसी भी क्वेश्चन का आंसर देने के लिए जो कि वर्ड से शुरू होता है, just Google SaaS. So here we are. SaaS is syntactically awesome style sheets. Okay, it is written in here in the top, syntactically awesome style sheets. And the SaaS website tells them CSS with superpowers. And they're not actually, it's not actually entirely false. It is kind of true. So let me explain you people the idea behind SaaS, what exactly is SaaS and why it was created in the first place. So, okay, let's start with an example. Already have some blank text here. Okay, another text editor. Let's quickly save this thing with the name of tst.html. Save. And let's say you have this kind of thing here. Suppose, I'm really sorry. You have a very simple setup, something like this. HTML, and let's just call it test page. And then in the body page, you have something like 3. I'm at here. E and my sentence. Then you have a bunch of sentences out here. And in your head, you just add something like this. Right? And here you say P equals P, and then I just want to make them color red. I go back and I open this t.html in the browser. So I have certain p tags which are of red color. There's how it is. Now let's say if I want that some of my p tags should be red color and some of my p tags should be green color. So since a very easy way of doing this thing is just to add a particular class to whatever colors they are, and then write a CSS rule for the same. And sure it does. It makes certain text here green. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 paragraph tags, and 3 of them are red and 2 of them are green. Now, let's say you have some more markup on the page. You have some more text on the page, and you are very particular about color, and you really want to use very specific color on very specific text. So what is going to happen? तुम्हारा HTML का मार्कअप यहाँ पे बढ़ता जाएगा. It will keep on increasing, and every single time तुम कोई नया क्लास या कोई नई आईडी बनाते हो, या फॉर सम रीजन अगर तुम्हें कलर रिपीट करना होता है, सो ईदर तुम्हें किसी प्रीवियस एलिमेंट की क्लास या आईडी उठा करके, आईडी तो नहीं उठा सकते, आई एम रियली सॉरी, तुम्हें किसी प्रीवियस एलिमेंट का क्लास उठा करके तुम्हारे नए एलिमेंट के अंदर डालनी होगी, जिसके अंदर के तुम्हें एक्चुअली वो ग्रीन कलर चाहिए. या फिर अगर तुम नहीं करते हो ऐसा, बिकॉज प्रॉब्ली उस क्लास के साथ तुमने कुछ मार्जिन, कुछ पैडिंग, कुछ बैकग्राउंड कलर वगैरह सेट कर रखा, तो वो भी उठ करके वहां पर आ जाएगा. इफ यू डोंट वांट टू डू दैट, देन यू हैव टू write the color code again and again. And most of the time हम लोग color green नहीं लिखते हैं. We write something like 4G HV1C, something like this. हम hex notation के अंदर color लिखते हैं. So what is going to happen pretty quickly? तुम्हारा ये जो style sheet वाला part है, it will have this kind of notation everywhere, sprinkled across the whole file, here and there, पूरी file के अंदर. Now let's say तुम्हें requirement होती है कि जितनी भी जगह पर तुमने green किया था पहले, अब तुम उसको yellow करना है. So what are you going to do? क्विक एंड डर्टी सोल्यूशन इज सब्लाइम टेक्स्ट खोलो या जो भी टेक्स्ट एडिटर या आईडी तुम लोग यूज कर रहे हो, फाइंड रिप्लेस, दैट्स हाउ वी डू दिस. This is okay for very small amount of projects, but when things become different, this quickly becomes very difficult. When you have a big project and a bunch of people are working on that project, which happens to be the case most of the time in any non-trivial project, things are going to get very bad because you find and replace something. और जब तुम वो कोड शेयर करते हो दूसरे बंदे के साथ, they are like, what just happened here? It was green, now it's yellow, and things like that happen all the time. So the part of the reason now, एक potential solution इस चीज के लिए ऐसा हो सकता है अगर CSS हमें allow करें. Let's say हम यहाँ पर variable declare, let's say हम यहाँ पर बोलते हैं main color, and let's say मैं main color को बोल देता हूँ black. एंड देन उसके बाद मैं बोल देता हूँ सेकेंडरी कलर, और सेकेंडरी कलर को मैं बोल देता हूँ लेट्स से ग्रीन. सो #00FFF, आई डोंट नो ये कौन सा कलर कोड होता है, बट जस्ट लेट्स अज्यूम कि ये ग्रीन है. देन यहाँ पर मैं जो अपनी मेन स्टाइल शीट है, हियर आई कैन से दैट कलर शुड बी मेन कलर एंड दिस p डॉट ग्रीन और वट एवर इट इज, इसका कलर होना चाहिए secondary. Something like this. This could have been very good thing. However, CSS does not allow you to add any variables. If you look at closely, CSS is not a programming language. CSS का full form होता है cascading style sheets. Cascading क्यों होता है? We will come to that जब हम detail में इस चीज को करेंगे. However, the whole point is that it is called cascading style sheet. It is not a programming language. And since CSS is not a programming language, आप इसमें logic execute नहीं कर सकते हो, आप variables नहीं बना सकते हो, आप calculations नहीं कर सकते हो, आप assignment नहीं कर सकते हो. You can't do anything. अगर if you look closely, if you pay close attention to the CSS syntax, CSS का syntax इस तरह से होता है. हमारे पास ये part है which is called selector, and then इस part को हम बोलते हैं rules. Selector and rules. So essentially, what CSS does, it tells you an address or it specifies any kind of element कि जो भी element तुम्हारे पेज में इस particular pattern को match करे, उसके ऊपर ये rules apply करो, and that's pretty much it. Now these rules, they can be anything. This selector, they can be anything. There are syntactical things to maintain these things. However, you cannot execute logic. Now if you think from this perspective, अगर हम CSS के अंदर लॉजिक एग्जीक्यूट कर सकें, then things are going to be awesome. We could do a lot of different things. Remember, कई बार if you guys might have struggled with the fact कि let's say तुम्हारे को एक div है और तुम्हें उसे full height पे दिखाना है स्क्रीन में. फुल विड्थ दिखाना आसान होता है जैसे 100%, लेकिन अगर तुम्हें स्क्रीन पे फुल हाइट में दिखाना है उसे, लाइक इस पॉइंट से इस पॉइंट तक, then what should be the height? If you give it height 100%, it will always stay equal to the height of content. But you want your website exactly to be of the screen size. Now, one way of doing this thing is कि हम CSS में कोई ऐसा कोड लिख सकें कि जब CSS एग्जीक्यूट हो तब वो ये देखे कि भैया स्क्रीन की हाइट कितनी है. It queries the browser, hey browser, tell me what is the screen height. And when the browser tells them the screen height, it sets that value into the height property of whatever element you guys have said. You can't do that thing with CSS. The answer to all of these questions is SAS. Welcome to SAS. SAS does exactly this. Now, how does it do this thing? That is something which we definitely are going to cover as the series progresses. This is the first session where I'm simply talking about the technologies of the front-end development which we'll be using, but you get the idea. So that's why people call it CSS with superpowers, SAS. There's that. Okay, so again, this is the point where I would invite certain questions from you people. If you have any questions, please let me know. Really. Okay, I'm gonna wait for like 10 seconds again. If you guys have any questions, just let me know. Great. Looks like nobody has any questions. Everybody knows everything already. Okay. Okay. I was joking. It's okay. It's completely fine if you guys don't have any question at this point because probably ये चीज़ें शायद तुम लोग already पता हो. But for the sake of completion, I'm gonna keep it this way, and I'm gonna at least touch on all of these things. All right. Now, next part in our discussion happens to be ES16 and Webpack. Okay. And the final part is we will also create our first Vue.js modern application. So before I talk about ES16 Webpack, it is actually worthwhile to look into the third point because ES16 Webpack वाला जो point है वो हमारे इस third point के साथ completely associated है when we are going to create our first Vue.js application. All right. So there is a lot of theory behind this thing. What exactly is Vue.js and why you should use it and why not to use other things and a lot of things are behind that. So for the time being, we are going to ignore all of those things and we are going to quickly look into the Vue.js itself. And then as the series progresses, probably in the next session, we are going to explain why these things are necessary, why we simply cannot, keep doing what we were already doing. Things will get very, very clear as we go ahead. As of now, I think it is quite an interesting point, or in my opinion, quite an exciting point as well, that let's start to write some code in a new framework, which probably you guys have never worked with as of now. So head over to you. I head over to Vue.js.org. Now I want you people to continue this point onward with me. So please open your code editors. My favorite is Sublime, so I'm going to use that one. And you should also open up your Sublime Text or Eclipse or whatever text editor which you guys use. We're going to create a very simple, a very straightforward Vue.js application or a sample application. Because from the next point onward, we will dive deeper. From the next session, we will dive deeper into the front-end web development. So this is a good point to start. So I would like to keep everything organized in here. So I have a folder called course, and I'm going to create a new folder into this one called Modern Web Development 101, and inside that I'm going to create a new folder. Second one. Your mileage may vary, तो आप लोग कोई भी फोल्डर स्कीम यूज कर सकते हैं, बट आई वुड हाईली एनकरेज कि आप एक पर्टिकुलर फोल्डर बनाएं और अपना सारा काम उस एक पर्टिकुलर फोल्डर के अंदर ऑर्गेनाइज करें. Right. So it's going to go here, and I'm going to open this folder in Sublime Text. File, open folder, close, MPW session, open. Right. Let you just stay there and sidebar. So we have this folder. I'm going to quickly create a new file in this one, and this one is going to be index.html, and yeah, this one should be given a proper name. Let's create our simple markup in here. Let's just call it intro to Vue.js. Also good. Okay, now let's come back to our browser and go to Vue.js page. And here, as like other all frameworks, ये लोग अपनी बड़ी तारीफें करते हैं. ये लोग progressive हैं, ये लोग approachable हैं, ये लोग versatile हैं, ये लोग performant हैं, and they're not wrong. Really, a lot of people are using them. They are actually, really. This is a really good framework, one which I particularly like. I like React quite a lot, but not so much so that as much as I like Vue, but yeah, it is fine. So on this very page, just click on get started, and then they're going to tell you a bunch of things about how to get started. It could be quite intimidating. Just to get started, you will read this one. So we're going to take it to in a very step-by-step manner. So the way we are going to use, as of now, what we want to do, we simply want to see how Vue.js works. What is the taste of coding with this thing? So in the getting started one, I will just pick the CDN. You could also download this thing, and after downloading, you could add it into a script tag, but I will simply go ahead and add. I will simply go ahead and add it as a CDN link. That is. Okay, now in order to make sure that CDN काम कर रहा है, let's go to my folder, click on the index.js. Nothing comes because we did not write anything. Inspect element, network, JS, reload. Here it is. Vue.js हमारे पास आ रहा है यहाँ. It's good. Now let's go back and write some code in here. So first of all, I'm going to create a div, and I'm going to give this div an ID, and I'm going to give it an ID of my app or my web app or my website or whatever you'd like to call it. Now I'm going to write some code which is Vue.js specific. Script text JavaScript here. Okay, so the way you work with Vue.js is that you first create any element inside your HTML document, and then you tell Vue.js that this element is where Vue.js is going to work. Now with Vue.js or with React.js or with AngularJS, काम करने की philosophy similar होती है तीनों में. We are taking Vue.js an example. Going forward, we might use React, and we will also give an intro to Angular if possible, although I don't like it AngularJS, so probably we won't do that. But yeah, for the sake of completion, let's just call it. We will consider it. Okay, so Vue.js काम में आता है हमारे पूरे वेब पेज की पूरी लाइफ साइकिल मैनेजमेंट के अंदर. You can make AJAX request with this thing. You can show hide elements with this thing. You can render new HTML. कल के सेशन से अगर तुम लोगों को कुछ याद हो तो मैंने तुम लोगों को बताया था कि जो HTML गूगल इनबॉक्स के अंदर जनरेट होकर के आया था वो डेवलपर ने नहीं लिखा था, वो कोड से जनरेट हुआ. एंड सम पीपल आस्क्ड वो कोड से कैसे जनरेट हुआ था, डेवलपर कौन सा कोड लिखता है. सो दिस इज द फर्स्ट वर्जन टू द आंसर टू दैट क्वेश्चन. सो यू विल सी हियर क्विकली. हियर हमने एक अगेन Vue.js को काम करने के लिए हमें एक स्टार्टिंग पॉइंट देना होता है. हम स्टार्टिंग पॉइंट बॉडी भी दे सकते थे, बट इट्स अ बैड आइडिया इन Vue.js कम्युनिटी कि आप बॉडी को नहीं देते. तो इसलिए हमने एक एम्प्टी डिव बनाया, उसको हमने एक आईडी दे दिया माय ऐप, एंड नाउ वी आर गोना राइट सम Vue.js कोड. सो it's very straightforward. If you go in here and declarative, I mean they say quite a lot of things. So यहाँ पर उन्होंने छोटा सा कोड हमें दिया है ये करने के लिए. We're gonna use this thing as a template. So we are going to use right here on this var my app new view, and that's it. काम हो गया. आपने नया Vue.js का एक इंस्टेंस बना लिया और that's it, काम हो गया. I mean exactly नहीं हुआ है, but this is something which is very essential when it comes to understanding of the Vue.js. People who come from object-oriented background, they can see that ये syntax काफी object-oriented syntax है, and we will go into the details of this thing. But as of now, ये JavaScript object-oriented programming है, तो इसे एक argument की जरूरत है, और वो argument अपने आप में एक object होता है. Now JavaScript के अंदर आप object बिना class के बना सकते हो. Anything between these two brackets is an object. I mean इसके बीच में आप जो भी डालोगे JSON format में, that is going to be an object. So yeah. So Vue needs certain things to work with it, or वो object is going to be this one. First of all, let's tell Vue.js को, हम बताते हैं कि हमने कौन से element पे इसको काम करवाना है. So we're gonna come in here, add hash. People coming from jQuery could simply easily understand that whenever we add hash in here, both in CSS and jQuery, it means an ID. So here we are telling Vue.js that EL means element, that hey, you have to work inside this element. Okay, and then after Vue.js has worked this thing, we're going to provide it some data. Now what is data? Data could be anything which you are going to show in your web page. अगर आप email inbox बना रहे हो, so data can be the list of emails. अगर आप Facebook clone बना रहे हो, so data can be the information of your profile. It can be anything. Generally, typically, हम लोग data AJAX use करके backend server से fetch करते हैं. But since this is a very simplistic approach of doing things, इसलिए हम data को यहीं पर define कर देंगे. I mean, we could hard code some data. Going forward, we can set up a backend, and then we can make an AJAX request to the backend to fetch the data. So the first data, which the first thing which I'm gonna create in here, so it's data, and I'm just gonna call it message. And my message, the value of my message, I'm going to give it, okay, let's just give it hello world, because probably it's, yeah, it's a hello world Vue.js thing. And यहाँ पर I'm going to use a special kind of syntax, mustache syntax I'd like to call it. Let me start. Come on. This double curly brace syntax. So this is the name of the variable. If I add this name of the variable here, this will render my message into the HTML page. So let's go below, and sure it is. It rendered here. So we did not write hello world directly in here. We told Vue.js that this is the data, which is this string hello world, and this is the element, my app. We are telling Vue.js here, and we are telling Vue.js that we need to write or show this message variable at this position. That is essentially the thing which is going on here. But this is not very exciting. So let's try to make it exciting. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to add, first of all, I'm going to add some BR tags. And then I'm going to add an input box here. Input type text, name के मेरे को ज़रूरत नहीं है, just leave it. Or I'm going to add something called vModel, and I'm going to call it message. And that's it. Go back and reload. So what happened? A new input box came in here, and if I try to edit this one, let's just call it thumbs up. Oh, this thing changes up in here. Now this is something which we called reactivity or two-way reactivity. Now that is a very hi-fi technical jargon. In short, what exactly is happening? Okay, let's say I write some text here. यहाँ पर इस एरिया के ऊपर जो भी टेक्स्ट आएगा, हमने उस टेक्स्ट को बाइंड कर दिया है इस इनपुट बॉक्स की वैल्यू के साथ. सो व्हाटएवर यू गोना डू हियर, आप इस इनपुट बॉक्स के अंदर जो भी लिखोगे वो चीज़ यहाँ पर अपीयर हो जाएगी. लेट्स से इफ आई राइट माय breakfast was bad, which was essentially bad. I mean, I'm not going into details, but today my breakfast was bad, so it appears right away in here. So let's try to understand what is happening, why it is behaving the way it is behaving, because essentially speaking, this is something which you guys are going to use quite a lot. So there's a concept in JavaScript, in Vue.js, in React.js, in all of the modern web development. Yeah, modern web development. There is a concept जिसे हम बोलते हैं reactivity. What do we mean by reactivity? Reactivity, I mean, chemistry के perspective से everybody knows when you add two chemicals, they react, they do something, they create something. So in this context, web development context, the reactivity is when you make any change to one particular element on the page reacts in certain way. Now वो certain way क्या है? That certain way is जो भी आप यहाँ पर define कर रहे हो. अगर हमने कोड में define कर रखा है कि ये हमारे पास डेटा है जिसके अंदर मैसेज नाम का वेरिएबल है जिसने हमें यहाँ पर शो करना है, देन हमने यहाँ पर एक स्पेसिफिक टैग लगाया, एक एट्रीब्यूट लगाया. दिस एट्रीब्यूट इज नॉट द पार्ट ऑफ कॉमन HTML. दिस एट्रीब्यूट इज लाइक Vue.js specific thing. So we added an attribute in here, v-model, और हमने इसको एक आर्गुमेंट पास किया मैसेज. सो व्हाट इज गोइंग टू हैपन, हमने ये जो मैसेज था इसे बाइंड कर दिया है इस इनपुट टैग फॉर्म के साथ. We are just connected these two things with each other. They are connected now. So अगर हम इसे change करते हैं तो ये change होगा. And vice versa is also true, but we don't have any way to change the static text here. So that is just fine. So okay, now let's add some more functionality to this. We're gonna add okay, let's say names. I have created another variable called names, and I have made an empty array out of names. Right. So initially, for the sake of easy understanding, let us add some names here. John, Tim, Batman. Why not Batman? Of course, Batman. Okay, let's just forget John and Tim. Let's just call it Superman. I'm a DC fan. So, and yeah, my favorite, Wonder Woman. Now we have a list, we have something in an array, and we want this thing to appear right here. Now the Vue.js way of doing the things would be, I mean, adding a break is not a Vue.js way, but I'm adding it for the sake of whatever. And then I want this thing to be rendered something like this कि मेरे पास एक list element आ जाए और हर एक list element के अंदर ये जो array है मेरे पास names का इसका एक एक element यहाँ पर आ जाए. So an easy way of doing this is using an attribute called before. Before name in names name. Okay, I'll explain this thing, but first look into the browser. Sure enough, we have something here. And if you inspect this thing and you see, then you have a bunch of HTML in here, but initially हमने ये HTML नहीं लिखा था, हमने ये HTML लिखा. So the person who asked us कि developers कौन सा कोड लिखते हैं अगर Gmail inbox के अंदर वो कोड नहीं है जो developers ने लिखा है. So this is an approximate idea, an approximate answer to that question. कि आप इस तरीके से कोड लिखते हो यहाँ पर. Now people may argue कि हमें इसमें एडवांस और इसमें मॉडर्न क्या है. ये तो हम वैसे भी कर सकते हैं. I mean, अगर आपके पास एक एरे है और उस एरे को आपको एज अ लिस्ट यूएल दिखाना है, there's no big deal with that. Well, people are absolutely right, but let me add a big deal here. This is the first version. Now let's take it a step further. I'm going to add another empty variable in here. Let's just call it new name, and I'm going to make it to, I'm going to equate it to an empty string. फिर you remember हमने यहाँ पर इस इनपुट बॉक्स को बाइंड किया था इस वाले वेरिएबल के साथ. अब एक काम करते हैं, इस इनपुट बॉक्स को बाइंड कर देते हैं इस वाले वेरिएबल के साथ, न्यू नेम, राइट. एंड लेट अस क्विकली क्रिएट अ बटन. एंड जब मैं बटन पे क्लिक करूं तो मैं चाहता हूं कि एक फंक्शन एग्जीक्यूट हो जिसका नाम है ऐड नेम. Call it add. Now मैं Vue.js के अंदर ये फंक्शन ऐड करूंगा methods सेक्शन के अंदर, and we have a function. We have a function called add name. और add name के अंदर what I'm gonna do, हमारे पास ये जो न्यू नेम वाला वेरिएबल है इसे मैं पुश कर दूंगा इस नेम्स वाले एरे के अंदर ताकि हमारे पास यहाँ पर एक नया एलिमेंट रेंडर हो जाए. सो दिस डॉट डॉलर डेटा डॉट नेम्स डॉट पुश दिस डॉट डॉलर डेटा wait, browser. Something went wrong. We have an error. Happens to be on add name equals to, oh, my mistake. Not equals to code. Very good. Load. Okay. Batman, Wonder Woman, and let's just call it Flash. Here it is. Let's just add Mr. Freeze. Name. Here it is. So how's that? This is a little bit advanced function of this whole thing. Now the benefits of using this approach of working are coming up. Imagine अगर हमें यही काम vanilla JavaScript में या jQuery यूज करके करना होता तो the code could have been quite a lot. Here you have very simple, sweet things, and it is working just fine. And this is how HTML is generated using the code which you have written. If I come in here and if I open this one and if I keep on clicking this thing, keeps going on. It's dynamic in nature. Now the beauty of this approach is कि हमारा ये जो तरीका है डेटा को प्रेजेंटेशन से अलग करने का, ये सिर्फ इस हार्ड कोडेड एग्जाम्पल में ही नहीं, ये हर एक एग्जाम्पल में बिल्कुल परफेक्टली काम करता है। व्हाट आई एम ट्राइंग टू से हियर, ये जो आपके पास डेटा यहाँ पर आया है, आप इसे सर्वर से ले सकते हैं, देयर इज एब्सोल्युटली नो प्रॉब्लम विद दैट। आप इसे थर्ड पार्टी सर्विस से ले सकते हैं, आप इसे फाइल रीड करवा के ले सकते हैं, आप इसे यूजर इनपुट से ले सकते हैं, इट रियली डजंट मैटर। डेटा अलग अलग मीडियम से हम फैच कैसे करते हैं और उसे वेब पेज के अंदर कैसे दिखाते हैं, दीज आर टू कंप्लीटली डिफरेंट थिंग्स। इट मीन्स द इंजेक्शन ऑफ डेटा इज कंप्लीटली डिफरेंट फ्रॉम द प्रेजेंटेशन ऑफ डेटा, एंड दैट इज द होल पॉइंट of using quite a lot of things in modern web development. So I think today we have like taken 1.5 hour session in here, and it's quite a lot, I guess. I'm gonna stop sharing now. Okay, people. So that was quite an okayish thing. Okay, my mistake. I missed this comment. Anuj Birani is asking how SAS is used. Well, Anuj, SAS को हम directly काम में नहीं लेते हैं क्योंकि browsers SAS को identify नहीं कर पाते हैं. There is something called, जिसके ऊपर मैं actually मेरा अभी next point है, something called Webpack and something called ES16, which are used to actually make it work. I'm just coming to that. उससे पहले I'm going to answer the question from Mudit Bhansali. He is asking what are the different features that SAS have. Well, Mudit, SAS के बहुत सारे features हैं. इस particular session में जो कि already बहुत लंबा stretch हो गया है, I'm not gonna cover all of these things, but I promise कि जब हम आगे अगले सेशंस के अंदर जब हम इस चीज़ को कंटिन्यू करेंगे, द आइडिया इज कि हम लोग एक प्रोजेक्ट बनाएंगे, एंड इट प्रोजेक्ट इज नॉट गोइंग टू बी लाइक कि ठीक है ब्लॉग बना लो, ये बना लो, वो बना लो. वी आर गोइंग टू मेक a website for our this little community, and not just an easy website. We are going to make a very full, choke full, feature packed forum for ourselves, for our community. So when we are going to build that, we will use all of our learnings जो कि हम इस session के अंदर कर रहे हैं, and we will do, and we will use all of the features out there. But the good news is, even before that, we are going to create some kind of an application जिसे आप लोग अपने computers पे खुद के personal काम के लिए use कर सकते हैं using web technologies. We are definitely going to do that. In the due course of that thing, we will use a lot of SAS, we will use a lot of these new things which I just told you, and step by step, जैसे जैसे जो functionality हम build करेंगे, उस functionality को we guys are going to explain, and we guys are going to look into that. So how does that sound to you? I think that is the fine approach. I mean, at least मेरी learning में, जब मैं learning process में था, this approach has worked very fine for me. So I think it is also going to benefit you. I think so. Okay, the final thing, last point. Remember, I told you people that there is another point which is called Webpack and this ES16. Oh, I'm not sharing my screen. Just give me a second, let me share my screen here. I'm just gonna take like 5 more minutes from your time. Right. So we created our very first Vue.js modern app. Okay, by no means वो app बिल्कुल भी modern नहीं दिखती थी, वो app भी नहीं है. It is just like hello world kind of thing. So this thing could be kind of misleading. I don't know. Let me know. अगर तुम लोगों को लगता है misleading, I will work on my grammar and my language as well. Anyways, so we just saw Vue.js in action, and I left out ES16 and Webpack. I said that these are interconnected, and I'm going to come back to these things. So this is the time I'm going to come back to these things. So let's go to Webpack. All right. So Webpack एक no bullshit tool है, और इन लोगों ने अपनी वेबसाइट पे एकदम no bullshit टाइप में बनाई है. ये बड़े-बड़े इंट्रोडक्शन नहीं देते. Bundle your scripts. That's it. Bundle your images. That's it. And bundle your styles. That's it. Whatever you have, bundle it, throw it out. Okay. So what Webpack is? Webpack is a small piece of software जो कि उनकी वेबसाइट के ऊपर ये जो इन्होंने इलस्ट्रेशन बनाया है ना, ये बहुत अच्छे तरह से एक्सप्लेन करता है. So what's happened? तुम्हारे पास जावास्क्रिप्ट है, तुम्हारे पास SAS है, तुम्हारे पास CJS है, तुम्हारे पास JPG है, PNG है. You have a lot of things जो कि एक दूसरे के साथ बुरी तरह से कनेक्टेड है. मे बी तुम लोगों ने CSS के अंदर बैकग्राउंड इमेज लगा रखा है, मे बी जावास्क्रिप्ट के अंदर तुमने ऑन क्लिक रिप्लेस बैकग्राउंड लगा रखा है. सो यू हैव ऑल ऑफ दीस थिंग्स जो कि एक दूसरे से किसी न किसी तरह कनेक्टेड है. ये जो पूरा का पूरा अजीब सा मामला, ये इंटरकनेक्टेड कॉबवेब जो चीज़ है, आप इसे लेते हो, आप इसे वेब पैक में फेंक देते हो। ये देखो, ये जो बड़ा सा एरो ये फेंक रहा है इसे वेब पैक में। वेब पैक इसको प्रोसेस करता है और वो तुम्हें क्लीन फाइल्स देता है, जीएस, सीएसएस, जेपेग, पीएनजी। दैट्स इट। सो इसेंशियली आप अपने वेब पेज के ऊपर लेट्स से आपने 6 प्लगइन लगा दिए और आपने 3-4 बेस स्क्रिप्ट्स लगा दी, बूटस्ट्रैप लगा दिए, ये लगा दिए, वो लगा दिया, बहुत कुछ लगा दिया। अब इवेंचुअली तुम्हारे वेब पेज को रेंडर करने के लिए तुम्हें जरूरत पड़ रही है लाइक 20 फाइल्स की, इमेजेस वगैरह सब मिला के। Now, serving 20 files to render one web page is a bad idea when it comes to web performance, and web performance matters. It will become apparently clear to you people as we progress through our series, and I will, update you guys with new tidbits of performance things and some case studies or things like that. So the point is, जितनी कम फाइल्स आप अपने वेब पेज के अंदर रख सकें उतना बेटर है। एक्चुअली एक स्वीट स्पॉट होता है कि बहुत बड़ी कुछ फाइल्स या छोटी छोटी बहुत सारी फाइल्स, तो देयर इज अ ट्रेड ऑफ। अगेन, प्रोज एंड कॉन्स, नथिंग इज परफेक्ट। सो वेबपैक हेल्प्स यू in taking in a bunch of files and combining them into one single clean outputs, and that's how it's going to work. So coming back to our Vue.js example, जैसा कि आप लोगों ने यहाँ पर देखा, टिपिकली जब हम एक कोई प्रॉपर प्रोजेक्ट बनाते हैं तो हम Vue.js फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल CDN से नहीं लेते। सेकंड ऑफ ऑल हम स्क्रिप्ट को अलग फाइल में रखते हैं। थर्ड ऑफ ऑल हमारा जो स्टाइल है, अभी इस पेज में मतलब जीरो स्टाइल्स है, कोई स्टाइलिंग नहीं है इस पेज में, बट देयर वुड बी स्टाइलिंग, देयर वुड बी अ बंच ऑफ सीएसएस इन हियर, वो हम एक अलग फाइल में रखेंगे। नाउ जब आप और थोड़े यूजेबल लेवल पे जाते हो किसी भी टेक्नोलॉजी के अंदर, सो ऐसा होता है कि आप चीज़ों को सेपरेशन ऑफ कंसर्न्स वाला मामला होता है। आप किसी पर्टिकुलर सेक्शन के स्टाइल्स अलग फाइल में रखोगे, किसी पर्टिकुलर सेक्शन के लिए स्क्रिप्ट्स अलग फाइल में रखोगे, एंड थिंग्स लाइक दैट। Particularly you have a bunch of scripts out there, bunch of files. Now to combine these things in one single unit, we use Webpack. In here, where did it go? Yeah, so that is Webpack. Now I think for this particular moment इतना जानना काफ़ी है Webpack के बारे में। एक और चीज़ जो आप लोगों को डेफिनेटली जाननी चाहिए, Webpack is the industry standard. Wherever you go, Airbnb से लेकर के वो Indeed, नौकरी का क्लोन जो है, naukri.com का क्लोन, वहाँ पर कहीं पर भी जाओ, go wherever, Webpack is there. You will use Webpack. There is no denying to that. You can't escape, you can't win. Webpack is coming for you. Really. Another point, ये इतना ज़्यादा पॉपुलर है कि GitHub पे 44,000 stars हैं Webpack के. That's quite a lot, really. So we will come back to it and we will learn Webpack. Final thing which I would like to touch upon is ES16. Yes, 16. JavaScript ES16. Okay, it's ES6. It's not ES16. ES16 is in another standard. It is ECMAScript 6. Okay, so what essentially is ES16? Or sorry, ES6. ES6 is the latest version of JavaScript syntax. Now you guys need to pay attention when I say JavaScript syntax. The whole point of ES6 is that JavaScript का हमारा जो पुराना syntax था, that was very messy. That was very bad. Everything, हर चीज़, जैसे यहाँ पर अभी आप लोगों ने देखा here, इससे पहले वाले एग्जाम्पल, oh come on. Okay, एनीवेज, मैंने ये 6 पुराना वाला नहीं लिखा है इसके अंदर। पॉइंट इज, यहाँ पर आपने देखा कि जब मैं कोई वेरिएबल डिक्लेयर करता हूँ, आई डिक्लेयर इट विद var, और अगर मुझे किसी प्रॉपर्टी को कोई फंक्शन असाइन करना होता है, सो आई डू इट लाइक दिस वे। देयर आर कपल ऑफ प्रॉब्लम्स विद दिस particular thing. I'm going to name a few problems and I want you people to Google it and come up and try to understand on your own. And then this would be like sort of your homework. I will create a document about this thing. So in next week, you guys need to do some little tasks. So there are a bunch of problems with the traditional JavaScript syntax, and most important of them is variable hoisting. Yeah, variable HOISTING, ये like flag hosting वाला सीन होता है, इसमें flag hoist करते हैं, झंडा फहराते हैं, something like that, variable hosting, and global namespacing, and you can't delete a variable. Yeah, really, अगर आपने एक बार var बना दिया, C में आप delete कर सकते हो variable को, PHP में आप free कर सकते हो, free नाम का कीवर्ड होता है। इन JavaScript var मतलब वो बन गया हाजर हमारे, वो अब जब तक तुम्हारा वेब पेज बंद नहीं होगा, जब तक तुम्हारा स्क्रिप्ट एग्जीक्यूशन एंड नहीं होगा, it will stay in memory. These things are bad when it comes to large scale projects. I will create a document explaining all of these things in little detail, and then your homework would be to find more information about these things and create your report and submit that on the classroom. So I'll add that homework thing out there in the one. So as of now, all in all, JavaScript का पुराना syntax was, bad. So people came up with new syntax called ES6. And once they created syntax, people were like very excited. Oh, why just stop at syntax? Let's change the language interpreter as well. JavaScript is an interpreted language. Browser के अंदर JavaScript का interpreter, built in आता है, चिपका हुआ आता है, baked in. क्रोम के अंदर जो जावास्क्रिप्ट का इंटरप्रेटर है उसका नाम है V8, और मोजिला फायरफॉक्स के अंदर जो है उसका नाम है गैको, एंड आजकल वो लोग क्वांटम वाले में सर्वो नाम से उन्होंने नया बना दिया। फायरफॉक्स क्वांटम अगर कोई यूज करता है तो उसमें सर्वो है। और इंटरनेट एक्सप्लोरर में जो रेंडरिंग और ब्राउजिंग इंजन है उसका नाम है ट्राइडेंट, TRIDENT, त्रिशूल। आई डोंट नो ट्राइडेंट नाम क्यों रखा है, इट सक्स क्वाइट लॉट, क्वाइट बैड। Anyways, we'll come to these points in a future point. So thing is, all in all, long story short, old JavaScript is bad. We need new JavaScript. Hey, ES6, हम लोगों ने बना दिया ECMAScript 6. So that is ECMAScript 6. And since we are running quite long, I would end it right at this point actually. So we have talked quite a lot about quite a lot of technologies. Hopefully this thing has created some curiosity in you people's mind. In next 2 hours, I will upload a document onto the Google Class where I will be detailing the things कि आपको इस एक week के अंदर क्या करना है. It won't be quite a lot. I don't expect you guys to work hours and hours a day, because that doesn't work. The thing which works is कि अगर आपको किसी चीज में इंटरेस्ट आता है, so you yourself go and read that thing. That is the only thing which works. So I'm gonna create some homework modules which are in a way so that when you guys attempt to do them, you guys have to do some research. You guys have to look into the things here and there, this and that. And a little bit I want to talk about how these sessions are going to progress. So the first series of sessions, or some people like to call these sessions workshop. Okay, whatever floats your boat, buddy. I don't care. You could call it session, you could call it workshop, whatever. I like to call them sessions, so I'm going to call them session. Okay, so coming back to the point. In the upcoming series, I am planning like 5 sessions starting from the next Friday or next Saturday. On every Saturday, I will organize this live session where we will go into one or the other thing. And अगले Saturday से होने वाले sessions इतने theoretical नहीं होंगे जितना ये वाला था. अगले Saturday से we are going to write code, and we are going to write a lot of code. And we all will write it together. I expect you guys to have like your laptops and everything, and then we're going to write these things. So here is the overall roadmap of the thing. Every Saturday हम लोग एक session रखेंगे. There are some optional topics जो कि मैंने Google Classroom के ऊपर शेयर किए थे, और मैंने पूछा था तुम लोगों से कि अगर तुम लोगों को इसमें से किसी एक्स्ट्रा टॉपिक के ऊपर कोई सेशन चाहिए तो लेट मी नो. सो द प्लान इज कि हमारे जो रेगुलर सेशंस हैं इस आज के सेशन की कंटिन्यूटी के अंदर ये लोग एवरी सैटरडे को रहा करेंगे. और अगर लोग बाकी किसी एक्स्ट्रा टॉपिक के ऊपर कुछ क्लैरिफिकेशन चाहते हैं तो वो सेशन दैट विल बी ऑर्गेनाइज्ड ऑन संडेज. और संडे को आई कुड आल्सो कीप अ क्वेश्चन आंसर सेशन. तुम लोग गूगल क्लासरूम के ऊपर अपने क्वेश्चंस पोस्ट कर सकते हो कमेंट्स के अंदर या नया पोस्ट बना करके. आई विल ट्राई टू आंसर देम एज बेस्ट एज आई कैन. मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम जब तुम लोग क्वेश्चंस पोस्ट करोगे तो मेरे आंसर विद इन टिपिकली इन सम मिनट्स आई विल आंसर दोस थिंग्स अनलेस अंटिल देयर इज सम आई एम स्टक समवेयर, आई एम बिजी समवेयर, बिकॉज आई एम नॉट अ फुल टाइम टीचर. आई हैव अ जॉब हियर. So yeah. Another thing, so you guys ask me questions in there, so that's how it's going to work. Regular sessions every Saturday, explanation sessions every Sunday. Now अगर कोई ऐसा क्वेश्चन होता है जिसका आंसर मैं कमेंट्स में नहीं दे पाता हूँ, या जिसके लिए हमें एक वन ऑन वन इंटरेक्शन की जरूरत होती है, किसी पर्टिकुलर स्टूडेंट को अगर वन ऑन वन इंटरेक्शन की जरूरत होती है, then we can arrange that. That could be happening probably on Sunday itself. I will take your questions, important one, and I will give you an explanatory video for those things on Sunday as well. And if you need some kind of one-on-one assistance, so message me or write me an email. It's rand.qt@gmail.com. Everybody I think knows that. And if for some reason somebody does not know that, I'm gonna share it. rand.qt@gmail.com. Let me write it again. Write me an email if somebody wants to, have some clarification one-on-one interaction. We can arrange a Hangouts call for that one. And what is that? Bharat has shared, boss share today's code. Yeah, I will share today's code in the classroom itself. So it was a good time with you people. It was really good to be here and to take this session. And I hope that we continue this thing, and I hope that we learn got a lot of things. In the meantime, जो दो links मैंने share किए हैं comments के अंदर, learnlayout.com और html.com. First year people जिन्हें CSS और HTML का proper idea नहीं है, please go through these links. Another point, HTML और CSS, yeah, जाने से पहले मैं I really want to say this thing. जाने से पहले I want to get it off my chest here. बहुत सारे लोग, जब मैंने इंटरव्यू कर रहा था मैं लोगों का, तो काफ़ी सारे लोगों ने मुझसे कहा, मैंने कहा भाई तुम क्या आता है तुम्हें? पीपल टेल मी मुझे HTML और CSS आता है. आई वाज लाइक ओके जीनियस, तुम्हें HTML और CSS आता है. एंड देन देयर आर अदर काइंड ऑफ पीपल जो कि टिपिकली आपको कॉलेज में घूमते मिलेंगे. जब मैं कॉलेज में था मुझे भी मिलते थे. भाई तू क्या कर रहा है? मैं वेब डिजाइनिंग कर रहा हूँ. ओके, वेब डिजाइनिंग में क्या कर रहा है? यार मैं HTML और CSS सीख रहा हूँ. कितने दिन हो गए? यार एक हफ्ता हो गया. आई मीन सीरियसली, किस तरह के झूठी हो कि एक हफ्ता लगता है HTML और CSS करने में? रियली, इट डजंट टेक 1 वीक. अगर कोई तुम्हें ये बोलता है कि वो एक हफ्ते से HTML और CSS कर रहा है, रियली दैट गाय इज नॉट डूइंग एनीथिंग. दैट गाय इज वेस्टिंग योर टाइम. बिकॉज इफ यू जेन्युइनली वांट टू डू HTML एंड CSS, it's not a week's job, buddy. इन वर्स्ट केस सिनेरियो, अगर तुम्हारे पास टाइम की कमी है, तुम 2 घंटे रोज देते हो, इट्स 3 days जॉब. 1 day फॉर HTML एंड 2 days फॉर CSS. एंड दो लिंक्स मैंने ऊपर शेयर की हैं, learnlayout.com and html.com, प्लीज गो थ्रू देम, एंड दे आर एक्चुअली 1 day's जॉब एट ऑल. सो ऑल ऑफ यू फर्स्ट ईयर पीपल, इफ यू आर देयर एंड इफ समबडी टेल्स यू कि टाइम लगता है HTML CSS करने में, दे आर लाइंग टू यू. नहीं लगता है. गो थ्रू दीज लिंक्स एंड विद इन 3 days वुड बी डन. Post your questions and all of your discussions in the Google Classroom, and I will update you guys with your homework. और इस week के अंदर हम जो activities करने वाले हैं, I'm also going to post all of those things in Google Classroom. Another thing, and this is the last thing. You remember इस workshop के registration के लिए हमने एक form भरवाया था Gmail के ऊपर, Google Forms के ऊपर. उसके अंदर last point था, I hereby certify to whomsoever concerned that I will take this thing seriously. So here's the point. I will take care of this thing in next one more session, today's first session and next session as well. Anybody who is not attending the sessions, plus anybody who is not interacting in the classroom, I will ban those people. As simple as that. We don't want casuals. मैंने form पे लिखा था casuals need not apply. I'm taking out my time in here because I really want this thing to happen. और जितने लोग आज यहाँ पर ये वीडियो देख रहे हैं, they have taken out their time and they have come in here because they want this thing to happen. They want this kind of interaction. So I respect those people. Thanks a lot, and I really welcome and I really respect you people coming in here and giving up your time. But if people have this kind of casual attitude that they are not taking things seriously, I'm going to ban them from Google Classroom. And actually, organizing this thing on the Google Classroom is one of the reasons that you could, kick and ban people from there. So I'm gonna end this thing on this note, and once again, very, very thank you for being here, for taking this session, and I hope that you guys do a lot of great things in your future, in your career, and you guys do a lot of other great things in all of these things. Thanks a lot, buddy. Thanks for being here. Have a nice day. Goodbye.